There is a common assumption among people worldwide that athletic performance is related to race and genetics. While it may not be explicitly stated, it is a recurring thought that many people have. This phenomenon is known as the Black athletic superiority theory. The most prevalent argument made to support this theory are claims about genetic determinism, or the idea that genes play a role in the creation of specific traits. John Entine makes similar arguments in his book, Taboo: Why Black Athletes Dominate Sports and Why We Are Afraid to Talk About It. Comparably, coaches and players who are not of color feel the same exact way. In describing Black athletes, Florida State football coach Bobby Bowden claims to see better catches, runs, tackles, or anything physical. And it doesn't stop there. Orlando Magic center Ronnie Sakali confidently and undoubtedly states that Black players are superior. As we can see, belief in the Black athletic superiority theory is far from out of the ordinary. But is this a fair assumption to make based solely off of genetics? Just because those with African descent have more dense skeletons and lower body fat, does this give them the innate ability to dominate in the sports world? There is a frequent misconception regarding race that many people tend to make. They will place people into two broad categories, Black or white. However, race is nothing more than a social construct that is merely related to physical features only. Consider two Black athletes. One has 45% European ancestry and 20% Sub-Saharan African ancestry, while the other has 10% European ancestry and 50% Sub-Saharan African ancestry. Would people be able to see which athlete has more quote-unquote Black genes than the other just by looking at them? No. Both athletes appear Black, but they have very different genetic histories. Thus, it is incorrect to say that genes are related only to race. Some will make the argument that genetic variation gives rise to traits that will allow certain groups to excel over others. But if this was true, why don't Black athletes dominate 100% of all sports, or win every single time? It has been scientifically proven that allelic frequencies, or the percentage of genes that are responsible for variation, are rarely different regarding humans. Differences in height and features are the result of climate variation, not the ability to succeed in sports. These traits are simply the result of human evolution and will not play a role in athleticism without the encouragement of environmental factors. Additionally, environmental factors play a key role in shaping an athlete. Genetic variation cannot be the only determining factor to athleticism. It is what the athlete does by training and improving upon these characteristics that makes them better athletes. Environmental factors govern the expression of DNA, which has been shown through research. However, many refuse to acknowledge the amount of hard work and training that goes into winning an Olympic race, and they only tend to see the person's skin color at the finish line for that matter. Finally, in 1960, the trend of white dominance in long-distance running was broken when an Ethiopian runner took the Olympic gold medal for the marathon race. Throughout the next century or so, this was a recurring theme. Frustration of white athletes, and white crowds in general, began to circulate, and the fact that they were not number one anymore was attributed to skin color instantly. Here is where the familiar notion of race in relation to athletic performance was born. Since temporary white inferiority took place, implications for those who believed in the Black athletic superiority theory began to arise, and continues even today. If Blacks are dominating in athletics, then whites must be innately more intellectual, rather than physically blessed. Blacks contain more primitive traits, while whites exhibit more civilized attributes. This leads to less white participation in athletics because they feel as if they are not good enough, and it results in a decrease in Black performance in school. These children believe that they were built for sports and are not intellectually capable of doing well in school. These are only a few implications that have been observed regarding the Black athletic superiority theory, but through an analysis of environmental factors, acknowledging false racial constructs, and dissecting the result of white inferiority, we can see that this theory is far from the truth.